how can I, in my journey to be close to Allah, be as resemblant as possible to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's this famous hadith that I'm sure many of you have heard it from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ. Essentially, Prophet is saying, try to acquire the akhlaq, the manners, the characteristics, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this is a simple hadith, only 3 words, 4 words, but very deep in meaning. What does that mean? To try to resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, some of the attributes that we know of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can only be given to Allah. For example, independence. Allah is independent of all of us. But I can't say, I want to be independent. Some people say that, they want to be independent, but you can never be truly independent because you're always dependent, at the very least, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir, the Great One. Some of these are attributes that this hadith is not saying be Jabbar, be Mutakabbir. But for example, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous. He is forgiving. He is truthful. He keeps His promises. These are attributes, these are akhlaq that starts with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are attributes that Allah has taken upon Himself to be and has given as from His mercy, given us as an opportunity to take, even if it's an ounce of this akhlaq. When the Prophet says, تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ, try to resemble Allah as much as possible, He means try to acquire forgiveness. Try to truly acquire. Be forgiving. Allah is the most forgiving. Try to be 10% forgiving, 20%, 70%. Try to be as forgiving as you can. Be merciful towards others. Be merciful towards those that are more vulnerable than you, towards the elderly, towards the children, towards the ones that have maybe less than you in a specific domain. Maybe they're less wealthy, or they're less knowledgeable, or they're less capable of doing something.